Hopefully you guys are you energized? Are you good? Woo! I wanted to get to know the audience a little bit. I see some people that I know, but can you guys raise your hand? Who here is a WebXR developer already? Okay, cool. Who here is not at all a WebXR developer? Okay, great. So we do have a mix. That's awesome. I am going to get started today talking about the immersive web, like what it is, why we're excited about it, why we're continuing to invest in it. It really is a new frontier where regular websites are transformed into immersive experiences, ranging from fitness to lifestyle to gaming and so many other use cases. And then I'm going to pass it to our engineering team. You guys may have noticed we changed the name of the talk out from under you because we're announcing a new SDK that we're building today. And so they're going to walk you through it and tell you about how we're trying to lower the barrier to entry to making immersive web experiences. And there is going to be Q&A at the end. So any questions, keep them in mind and we'll answer them at the end. To tell you a little about me, I'm Elisa Kurt. I've been here at Meta for about 6 years. But I've been in VR for 9 years. I've shipped games and virtual worlds, productivity tools, developer-facing experiences. I just love VR and all the experiences that you can have. And I enjoy helping developers make their experiences better and help them find their audience. But who cares about me, right? You guys want to just see about the immersive web. Here's an experience that we launched just a few months ago. This is the All Pro Nitro experience from Puma, and you can really see here how the immersive web can transform a user journey. So you start off in a 2D web page, but then as you're shopping for shoes, you can click a button and all of a sudden you're in this immersive experience. The shoe appears in front of you, you can grab it, it's incredibly detailed. You can check the stitching, you can change the colorway with a click of the button, and where it gets really practical is what he's doing here. He is measuring his foot, so you can get the exact size and make sure that you have the perfect fit. And then when you're all through and your cart is the way you want it, you can just transition back to the regular 2D checkout. And that all happens inside the browser. You didn't have to go and download the Puma app. It was just the web, only enhanced. What you just saw was powered by WebXR, a web standard that brings immersive experiences directly into the browser. You can think of it as the next evolution of the web itself. It works on everything from smartphones to your VR headsets to the standard web browser that you use every day. You can write once and run everywhere. The same content works across Android XR, Vision OS, and Horizon OS, and any other WebXR-enabled platforms. And really, for users, the beauty is in its simplicity, because all they have to do is click a link and they're immediately immersed. They don't have to worry about different app ecosystems. They don't have to worry about going to download stuff. Any barrier that you had between discovery and experience is gone. And there's a myriad of use cases that you can have in WebXR. We just saw the shopping experience from Puma, but it doesn't just have to be shoes, right? Like, to be able to understand the scale, the details, the fit of something before you buy it is really powerful. It gives the user a lot of confidence. You can think of putting furniture in your room and make sure that it fits before you buy it, or trying a bunch of different paint colors on your wall. The sensors on the device can give you really powerful experiences to make sure that something fits into your life before you buy it. And besides shopping, we have a bunch of other unique experiences. On the other side, you can see here with the global map that's into the Scaniverse by Niantic. And that is a really cool platform where you can scan objects in your environment. You can upload them into the Scaniverse, and then you can experience them again in WebXR in a VR headset. And as you're browsing the Scaniverse, you can discover art and architecture. You can visit travel destinations that you may never have thought to visit. And it's become this social space where people from all over the world are uploading places that are meaningful to them and creating together like a 3D global map. And this is not like a futuristic concept, it's happening today. And entertainment in WebXR is equally compelling. On the left side of each screen, you can see In Tyrol, which is a horror escape room set in the First World War. Rather than just reading about history, you're living through it. And you can solve puzzles and uncover mysteries, and it really shows that WebXR is capable of creating these powerful, immersive experiences. And on the fitness side, you can see the punch guy. That's XR Boxer. It turns your living room into a full body workout. You're throwing punches and dodging attacks to the beat of the music. And yeah, you don't have to buy any expensive equipment, and it all just adapts to your living room space, available to you through a web link. The diversity of experiences is really remarkable. You've got social experiences where people connect across the globe, and you have educational experiences where students can visit historical sites. There's a ton. And of course, we've got games. WebXR is really great for games. For casual games, it makes a ton of sense, because if you're going to play a little casual game, you don't want to have to go download a 2 GB app or like worry about how much storage is on your device. You just want to click a link and have instant fun, so it's great for that. But of course, we also have more complex experiences. And in fact, this year, we hit a major milestone. The first WebXR game got accepted into the Meta Horizon store. That game is Elysian, you see here. And it is a space action shooter that brings like console quality excitement directly into your browser. And for the developer, it's really great because they can distribute via the web the way they want, and then they can also get the advantage of the search and discovery mechanisms that are inherent to our store. So if you are interested in having your WebXR experience as a PWA in our store, you can check out the QR code here, and that'll take you to our documentation page, getting started with PWA. And this really shows that WebXR is like a legitimate platform to make an immersive experience. And overall, like the immersive web ecosystem, the expansion, the momentum is truly remarkable. So we've got major brands like Puma creating these groundbreaking experiences. We have a lot of usage. Since Connect last year, every month we have an average of over 1 million people using WebXR, and that's just on the Quest platform. It doesn't count everyone else. And we also have WebXR now a standard, so you can write one application, it'll work on Vision OS, the Google headset, whenever that happens, it'll work there, and of course it's going to work on Horizon. And there's a new generation of developers coming up who understand that the web's reach and accessibility make it the perfect platform for developing and sharing these immersive experiences. The barrier to entry is low, the potential audience is massive, and the iteration cycles are really fast. But as many of you in this room probably know, as you try and develop more complex experiences, you can hit a wall or a really steep learning curve at least, and there's not a lot of tools or documentation or samples out there to help get you through it. And that's exactly what we've been working to solve. So I'm going to invite Felix to come up here and let you guys see how we are working to lower the barrier to entry for creating these immersive experiences.
Thank you, Elisa. Thank you, Elisa. You've outlined the exact problems we're set out to resolve. Hello, everybody. My name is Felix. I am a software engineer at Reality Labs Meta, and I'm super excited to be here today to talk to you about just how we are planning to knock down those barriers. So, in the past couple of years, we have been on a journey to make immersive web development accessible to everybody. 2 years ago, Connect 2023, we've launched Immersive Web Emulator, which is a browser extension that let developers build and test WebXR experiences without a headset. Last year, Connect 2024, we launched Immersive Web Emulation Runtime, which is something that reimagined WebXR emulation as flexible JavaScript libraries, which you can pretty much stick into any environment of your choosing, offering you unparalleled flexibility for WebXR emulation. And this year, today, I am super excited to announce Immersive Web SDK, a complete set of framework, dev tools, as well as samples that will make immersive web development accessible to everyone and as approachable as traditional web development. Immersive Web SDK is built on 3 core pillars. We have modern architecture. So we've built the entire thing on top of Three.js, the most popular 3D library on the web, and we paired it up with a high-performance entity component system implementation so that your application will scale smoothly from a simple prototype to a production-grade complex application. Secondly, we have developer-first workflow. What does that mean? That means every step of the way of our development journey, we have designed with web developers in mind. So we have one command getting started, we have HTML-like syntax, we have a visual scene composition, we have automatic asset compression pipeline, And we can't forget, we also have automatic injection of WebXR emulation. So anybody with a laptop can start building for the immersive web today. And last but not least, we have production-ready systems. And we're talking about these systems that will deal with common interactions that will be necessary in a lot of immersive web applications. And we're talking about locomotion, we're talking about grabbing, we're talking about spatial audio, scene understanding, and physics. And these things will shave months off of your development timeline and help eliminate a lot of those steep learning curve for someone that is new to immersive web development. To get started with Immersive Web SDK, you need exactly one command, npm create @iwsdk, and that's it. You will launch a CLI interface that will ask you a bunch of questions. So things like whether you want to use JavaScript or TypeScript. It will ask you about what kind of WebXR features you want to enable, let's say hand tracking or layers and all of the AR features as well. And it will ask you about what kind of app features that you want to enable. We're talking about grabbing, locomotion, spatial UI, all that good stuff. And once you're finished with the questions, in just under a minute, you will have a complete development environment ready to go. Let's take a look at our project structure. So it is a very simple and very intuitive structure. We have source folder, which is where the entry point as well as all of the app logic will live. We have the public folder, which is where all of the assets will go. So we're talking about 3D, 2D, audio, and all that good stuff. And we'll have UIs. We have the UI folder, which is for the source of truth of UI panel definitions. And if you choose to enable it, we'll have the metaspatial folder for visual scene composition. We'll touch on that in just a minute. So this project structure will enable different smooth collaboration between different kind of roles in your development journey. We're talking about, developers probably mainly operate inside the source folder, and we can have designers that they might do a lot of spatial panel things, so they will be operating in the UI folder, and we can have tech artists who will be operating in the metaspatial folder because they're going to be doing a lot of visual scene composition stuff. And we have a build pipeline as well as a dev server that will put everybody's work back together and present it to you as an awesome application. Cool. So now that we have our environment set up, let's launch our dev server. And this is exactly what you will get, a fully functional boilerplate app out of the box. After you enter XR, you will see your controllers, you will see your hands. There's going to be grabbable objects everywhere. There's going to be spatial UI that you can click, you can interact with. Everything just works out of the box. But if you ask me, this is where the magic happens. We can build this entire experience completely without a headset. And this is thanks to our smart injection of immersive web emulation runtime. When I say smart, this means when you're developing on a computer, obviously we know that this is not an XR headset, so we will inject the runtime so that you don't have to give a second thought. Just click on Enter VR, and we will do everything in emulation mode, so you can start developing right away. But for the same link, if you just use it in the headset, we will see that obviously you are on a WebXR enabled device, and we will skip the activation so you can enter immersive as you always do. So basically, one single source of truth, two experiences. Everyone with a laptop can start building today. Okay, let's talk about scene composition. So I don't know how many people here are 3JS developers like me, but I'm very used to the old way of doing things. I do a mixture of Blender or some other 3D software plus composition in code. And I just wanted to say that all of that still works very, very well with WSDK. But for people who prefer a visual-based approach for scene composition, we have hooked up Spatial Editor for that. Spatial Editor is the very same software used by Spatial SDK. So if you have looked into that, you might have already seen it or even have tried it before. The cool thing about this is out of the box, you can already select from our pre-built library of components and directly attach behaviors to entities in the scene. So for example, you can make things grabbable, you can make things interactive directly from there. And when you start producing your own custom component systems, our build pipeline will also pick it up right away and offer it through the editor as well. So you will be using your custom components in no time. The other thing I wanted to quickly highlight here is that once you're done with all of the changes, simply press save, and our development server will also pick up all of the changes, compile everything, like the project, into a glxf file, which is the destination format we're using for our levels, and it will send a signal to the page to do a full reload, so you can see your changes reflected in real time. And no matter whether you are using our Spatial Editor integration or you're doing things the old way like I tend to do, you can always take advantage of our robust asset optimization pipeline. When you're doing building for production, when you run npm run build, you will have your geometry and textures compressed using industry-leading algorithms. So basically, the result would be smaller files, faster loading time, and because KTX2 textures stay compressed on the GPU, you get better runtime performance. OK, we're seeing composition and asset optimization out of the way. Let's talk about adding physical interactions to your application. Like I said already, we have a lot of these pre-built systems that you can start using. So let's start taking a look at grabbing things. So to make something like the shoe on the table grabbable, we have a few options. We can do one-hand grabbing, which is a proximity-based thing. When you reach your controller or hands over and then press grip, you can basically hold it in your hands and move it around. Or you can try distance grabbable, which is going to use your selection ray and you point it at the shoe and press trigger, and you also have a number of configurable behaviors here. You can have the video stopped playing, but you can have the shoe fly towards your hand, or you can have it remain at the end of the ray and you can wave it around on a stick, kind of deal. So a lot to explore here, and we can't wait to see what kind of amazing experience you build with this. Next up, locomotion. So locomotion, it's in IWSDK is super simple. So all you have to do is to attach the locomotion environment component to your environment mesh, and that's it. Your user can already just walk around and teleport around in your scene, like it's just working out of the box. To be specific, what we're supporting here, we're supporting sliding, we're supporting teleporting, we're supporting different kinds of turning, so like snap turning as well as smooth turning as well. And everything you see is going to be customizable. So from movement speed to like snap turning angle to smooth turning angular speed. And we've also thrown in comfort features like the locomotion vignetting, which will help reduce a lot of the motion sickness that some users will experience. And obviously, it's also going to be very much customizable. You can turn it off, turn it on, turn it up high. Yeah, everything you see will be very much configurable. Oh yeah, the other thing I wanted to call out here is that the environment type is not only static, you can also have kinematic environments as well. So think about presenting a product on a rotating platform, or you can take someone through a guided tour, through your virtual showroom on an elevator. Everything's going to be possible with this. I'm so excited on this. OK, let's talk about sound. So spatial audio is very, very important for immersion. And that is why we have built this comprehensive system that will handle everything for you. So we have things like very basic things like distance attenuation. For example, let's just give a quick listen over here. It will fade off as we go further away. Yeah, and we have like more advanced things like directional cone, different kind of playback mode controls, and all of that. Those are harder to demo here, so you'll just have to get in the headset and check it out later. We've really spent a lot of time here, and this is a very comprehensive system. There's a lot of things you can customize here. Giving a quick example of the level of detail that we have done here, you can customize even like, for example, how many instances of a particular audio you want to have on an audio source, because sometimes you want to do like overlapping sound effects, right? So yeah, you can do that, and also you can even customize the instance stealing policy. So basically, when all of your instances are playing, which one should we recycle first for the most recent instance? A lot of customizations here. Sorry about that. A lot of customization here. Yeah, just a very comprehensive system in general. Cool. Let's talk about physics. So physics is also very important because that's the thing that actually makes your experience feel real. And but unfortunately, physics is one of those things that's like really hard to integrate by yourself and even harder to manage the performance well, which is why we have done it for you. And in SDK today, we have an early version, a prototype version of Havoc physics engine integration working. And we're offering all of the basic shapes like sphere, cubes, cylinder, capsule, and all of that. We are also offering utility functions that will help you very easily create customized collider shapes like tri-mesh and convex hull for your custom meshes. And we'll be continuing making process on this to make this process even easier. And last but not least, let's talk about scene understanding. We all know and love a lot of those AR features, but let's be honest, kind of hard to use especially when we're doing using it with a higher level library like Three.js, right? We have to do a lot by ourselves. We have to keep track of all of the objects like the meshes, the planes, and all of that, and we have to map them to something higher level like Object3D and Three.js, for example. Which is why we have a scene understanding system will do all of that for you, so you don't have to do any of that by yourself. So right off the bat, all of the XR meshes, XR planes, and even including the high fidelity room mesh will be exposed as XR entities and added to your scene graph automatically, so you can start querying them, reading information from them, and maybe even add physics to them so that things can bounce off the wall. And all of those are going to be working. And and we also offer advanced anchoring capabilities, so you can very easily put something that anchors to a physical location in your room, and if you choose to make those anchors persistent, they will survive through multiple WebXR session restarts. Yeah, so we've talked about a lot of things. We talked about locomotion, we talked about audio, and I wanted to give a huge shout out for my colleague Xianming here, who's done a lot of good work. Yeah, give everybody a wave. Yeah, he's done a lot of good work on grabbing physics and scene understanding things, and just a massive thank you to you. But yeah, so we have talked about a lot of things already, and but we have left in this one thing, spatial UI development, and that is because it is a huge pain point in immersive web development today. You are faced with an impossible choice. You can do things like bringing the 2D browser content over as a texture, render it in the 3D, which it's great because you get the same authoring experience, but you take a huge toll on performance. Or you can start building things as planes and everything as true 3D UI, but you have to worry about layout yourself, and you have to. This usually comes with a pretty steep learning curve. This is why we have partnered with the creator of UIKit, Bila Bolender, and UIKit is one of the, in my opinion, the best UI solution for the entire Three.js ecosystem. And together we have pioneered a completely new way to author spatial UI for the immersive web. So without further ado, let's welcome Bila on stage to tell you all about the future of spatial UI development for the immersive web.
Hey everybody, I'm Bela, maintainer at Pomondres and founder of DrawCall.ai. And I've actually spent the last 18 months improving how developers build 3D UI on the web. And today's releases mark, in my opinion, a big step forward, especially for the UI authoring flow. As Felix already outlined, the problem is that in HTML or in WebXR, we don't have HTML. And that's why UI authoring is a big pain. And existing workarounds are either too slow or too manual. And that's the reason why I created the Pomondres UIKit project. It's GPU accelerated out of the box. It renders complex UIs using a few draw calls, like complex UIs as low as few as 2 draw calls. It provides a straightforward API. You render the user interface directly as part of the scene. It achieves high performance using instancing, so all the heavy lifting is pushed to the GPU. You are using the Flexbox layouting system actually the same layouting engine that is powering React Native. And you can also mix 3D content directly inside of your UI. And if you want to really have this crisp native quality of text rendering, you can use WebXR layers in combination. And what's also nice is that this is usable across immersive and non-immersive applications. So you build one UI and you can reuse it everywhere. So what Pomodoro's UIKit provides you is these primitives like text and containers. But as developers were using this, they were quickly asking for things like buttons, you will see on the bottom, which are like more opinionated. And that's the reason why we started shipping these component kits. And we started shipping with the default kit. And the nice thing about these kits is that they are built on the same primitives. So they inherit the same rendering, the same layouting, interaction, styling. So they are still super performant. But they give you ability to build these high-quality user interfaces in really fast. And today, I'm excited to announce that we are shipping the Horizon kit, which allows developers to build user interfaces that are aligned with the Horizon OS design aesthetic. So they are the components from the Reality Labs design system. In practice, this means you add the kit to your project, you pick some components from it, you orchestrate it into a layout and customize it with classes and styles. We started with, so there's a little bit of history on UIKit. We started with UIKit as actually a React-only library, specifically React 3 Fiber. But as interest grew, we supported the whole 3JS ecosystem. The problem is authoring user interfaces with 3JS. So it is like authoring, it's essentially very verbose and not familiar to developers who are used to building user interfaces with HTML. And that's the reason today we are introducing the Pomodoro's UIKitML project. So it allows to build user interfaces using the using an HTML-like syntax, which is minimal, expressive, and for developers who have built something with HTML, it's very familiar and provides all the features you are expecting. Like you can see on the top, there are like inline styles, and you have style classes and everything. So essentially, you can now build something that looks like the web you already know, while still targeting the GPU-accelerated primitives from UIKit that work across all immersive and non-immersive applications on the web. Let's quickly look at an example of what this actually means. So on the left side, you can see the imperative code from 3JS, which is rather verbose. And on the right side, we can see the same user interface written with UIKitML, which is more like the HTML you would expect. But on our quest to making UI authoring as simple and as easy as possible, we did not stop there. So Felix actually created a VS Code extension for UIKitML, which allows to preview and visually edit UIKitML files directly in VS Code. That really simplifies and speeds up the UI authoring process. The VS Code extension actually provides a full custom language server, which provides like syntax highlighting, inline arrows, autocomplete. You can even, which is I think really amazing, you can click on user interface elements, you get ported to the code. You can hover over things and see the outline or see the layout of stuff. So you have basically like the features of the inspect tool in the browser. So everything together is basically a fully featured IDE for UIKitML. And because it is auto-transpiled, when you make a change, your app reloads, so you have an instant feedback loop. Now I've talked about all these amazing features and new things, but how do we actually use UIKitML and UIKit in IWSDK? And I'm amazed to announce that UIKit ships with IWSDK from the start. And you have two options to integrate your UIKitML user interfaces into your IWSDK scene. So you can either use the Spatial Editor and integrate your user interfaces with no code at all and place them visually inside your scene. Or you can use basically like 2 lines of code, reference your user interface and provide the requested or the required components and create your or add your user interface to the scene programmatically. Now that we've added our user interface, the next step is, of course, how do we make it interactive? And the nice part here is that we provide all the APIs that you are expecting from the web. So you can get an element by ID, you can query elements, and you can use all the pointer events that you all know from the web, like clicking, on pointer down, on pointer up. And the amazing part here is that these interactions, they work across all input modalities. So you build your UI once, and you can interact everywhere, from your smartphone to your Quest, to an AR experience. Everything mapped is to the same pointer events. So your UI is always interactive. Let's quickly recap the UI authoring workflow. So because we can create these user interfaces in 3 steps. The first step is we create a UI and modify it visually using the VS Code extension. Next step, we integrate it into our scene using either code or the Meta Spatial Editor. And lastly, we make it interactive using the APIs from the web we already know. But we don't have to always start from scratch. We can also use Drawcall AI to generate a UI with a simple prompt. If you're interested, check out the link or check out the QR code or visit Drawcall AI. Now I want to quickly go over all the things we are releasing today because actually there are 4 different things. So we're releasing UIKit 1.0, which is a major rewrite of UIKit focusing on performance, stability, and alignment with HTML. Then we are releasing the Horizon Kit, providing developers with these components that are aligned with the Horizon design aesthetics. And then we are releasing UIKitML and the UIKitML VS Code extension, making it much faster to create these user interfaces using a syntax you already know. And lastly, of course, the IW SDK integration for UIKit, allowing you to use UIKit with no additional setup at all. But you've already seen that UIKit, that IW SDK brings so much more than just a nice UI authoring workflow. It's really amazing how much is packed in here. And that's why I think, and we think, that the whole ecosystem shouldn't be left out on these innovations, which is why we're starting with the IW SDK hands and the pointer visualizations and the locomotion system and bringing these to other frameworks, starting with React 3 XR. I quickly want to say at the end that the last months have been amazing. It was an incredible journey, and I'm very excited for what comes next. Please check out UIKit, the UIKit project. Check out and try out IW SDK, and help us shape the future of 3D UIs and the immersive web ecosystem. Thank you, and with that, I'm giving it back to Felix.
All right, thank you, Vila. So yeah, that concludes our presentation, and we'll have some time for Q&A right now. So we'll give everybody a moment to settle down and yeah, get your questions ready.
Don't leave us hanging.
Test. All right. Yeah. Anybody has any question?
Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you all guys for such an amazing work on this, because especially Bella and Felix, we're using this daily essentially now. Not the V1 release, but the previous releases, and it's been such a huge help. About the VS Code extension with the 3 stuff. Would it be also possible to port it as the DevTool, as a Chromium extension or something like this? Because obviously you would have React DevTools, but comparing to HTML, you cannot select a node and point it directly. You need to find this yourself, and it would be an amazing help to be able to do this in the browser DevTools, not necessarily bound to the VS Code or other editors.
Yeah, I think because it's UIKit question, I will take it. I think it's very great idea. I think we stumbled upon this in some meetings. Also, I think if we had all the time in the universe, it would probably already be done. But I think it's also good to know it from users if something like this is requested. Like that's the goal, of course, to make the developer experience better. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's definitely it's something definitely worth looking into. I think like right off the bat, I'm just thinking about like how, because right now in the VS Code extension we have a very controlled environment. We can define how you can like basically click and hover on each of the element. It will be a different story if it's already inside of an application. But I think it's definitely feasible, and it's something that we should look into for sure. Thank you very much for the good feedback.
Hello, I just want to say again, fantastic work. Once again, the team has startled, surprised, and pleased me with the work you've done to add to the WebXR ecosystem. Really appreciate that.
Great question.
I had a question about the styling of the UI kit. I could see that you had a set of the Horizon compliant material type stylings. How hard is it to add further stylings to the system? Is it just the usual CSS? Is it just CSS style?
It's not like it's CSS-like properties. And the question is always like how deep you want to go. Do you want to rewrite the whole component? Then I would just recommend, since it's all open source, like just copy it and build your own. It's not too big. Like we have a lot of components, but each component isn't too big. So if you really want to change deeply things, then just copy them. But you can also override styles from external. So it's really like, the API is really like what you expect from HTML. So yes.
Hi guys, yeah, amazing work. Thanks for the presentation today. Appreciate it. I had a question about styling UIKit as well. Can it be more three-dimensional? Can you apply depth or in the Z space to any of this, or is it purely like flat planes you're rendering?
Yeah, it's so right now it's also because of like to do instancing. It's like this is one geometry and it's flat. But as I said, like you can mix 3D content inside of there. So and you can instance that content yourself. So it's definitely possible, and it can also be done in a performant way. I think there are like saw a lot of people building these types of user interfaces online, and I think they look really amazing. And I think it's definitely worth exploring more into like getting the depth and trying out there. The goal, of course, here was like to first start building, like recreating what we already have, so we can port things. But I think like now we ported most things. Now we have like opportunities to go like beyond HTML and explore what's possible there. So yeah, it is already possible, and maybe there will be like more convenient ways, and maybe like even a component kit that is like purely spatial. Yeah, thank you.
I was curious if, with all the components that you're adding in the SDK, if there's going to be anything related to lip sync and providing lip sync capabilities in there for audio fed into any of the characters.
Currently, there is no plan for it, but like we have this whole thing is completely open source, and like if you feel free to make a issue on our on our GitHub as a feature request, and like I mean we're a very nimble team, and like when there's enough demand from the developer ecosystem, we will definitely look into the possibility of that, and also like we're making it possible for third party to publish and make these kind of components and systems and stuff like that. So if you have something, you're working on something that you feel like sharing with the broader community, also feel free to publish them as separate packages or publish them as a pull request to our main library, and that's very much welcome.
I think I also saw like a tutorial on that. I think because it's all built on Three.js, like it shouldn't be too hard to add externally, and I think there's really cool resources on like doing AI, like syncing, lip syncing, and so if that's what you were suggesting, yeah.
This side of the room did all the heavy lifting, question-wise. Okay, great.
So thinking about the visual editor for this, I appreciate that you guys did that. So I love 3JS, but when you're building a large game world with kilometers of assets that you need to precisely manage and position, and I think that's really useful. But could you, you're extending an existing meta visual editor. Yeah, can you speak to the origin of that and like so you're not maintaining that aspect of it, or are you? Yeah.
We sit near them, so we can just.
Maybe I can.
Oh yeah, you're the boss of them now.
Is this on? Yeah, I can cover that. So I'm Dave Hill. I'm the engineering manager that supports the web platform team as well as some of our Android efforts as well. So the Spatial Editor started out as the editor for Meta Spatial SDK, which is our Android offering for building VR and MR stuff using the Android tech stack. We're looking at basically we're having that editor now also expand into what we're using for the Immersive Web SDK. And I think as we get a better sense of how web developers want to use it, we can look at extending it that way. As we get more Android developers using it, we'll probably see new features and requests come from there as well. But I think it's in my mind, it's just pure goodness that we have like a larger set of developers trying to use it, and the feature request kind of can come from both sides. And like from my point of view, it's all part of my team, and so it's like great, we can go do that work. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to flag that although like we're not directly maintaining this, if you have feature requests on the editor, feel free to file them as issues on our GitHub repository, and we'll be sure to, because we're like very close teams, we collaborate very closely together, so we'll definitely be sure to forward those feature requests and feedback to the team.
Hello, it's me again. I had a question about, given how far you already brought it functionally. So my first question is it published? Can we get the Metaspatial editor for web? And that's out. No, great. My other question was really to do with whether there are plans to integrate the PWA wrapper system so that you can press one button and have the APK formed for you.
Yeah, that's actually a very good question. So we actually on like both the Spatial Editor integration and the whole PWA workflow, I think if there's like enough demand, we can definitely do that. So yeah, just like Felix said, like you can send us a feature request, and like we'll see if we can put it into our roadmap.
There will be a lot of issues on your GitHub repository.
That is okay. Yeah, that's what we want.
Flooded.
I think we have time for one more. Yeah. Go ahead. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
One more.
Okay, so is this the last one or?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so obviously it's such a great thing that like emulation of pointer events. So you would use like a really familiar model for like doing like clicks, pointer up, pointer down stuff. And I'm not sure, I may be just like missing something because I'm not been following UIKit's development too closely. But like I would also like to see kind of like K up, K down events, and maybe even as a wrapper for like the gamepad API. Because yeah, you would just want to like press A or something like press W with a key code. Also, sometimes I guess a more advanced use case would be to only react on them when you're like hovering component, but just the global thing like add key down listener, add like gamepad listener would be much appreciated. Yeah.
Yeah, we actually support that right now. So the thing about this is that we have different levels of input. Our input architecture is structured in multiple levels. So for pointer events, we're keeping it simple so that it will work across different surfaces, right? Like all of the same things that you are seeing that we can do in XR today will also be able to happen on 2D web as well. But yeah, so like you said, like definitely there is definitely going to be need for more specialized inputs and stuff like that. And we do support that. There's a second tier, which is we have a stateful gamepad wrapper that is also aware of gamepad, like the button mapping from all of the different vendors of WebXR capable devices. So you can do things like like gamepad wrapper dot. I can't remember specific syntax, but like you can get button down and just give a particular ID of the button, for example, a menu button or like button A or something like that. The benefit of this is that we're pulling directly from the WebXR input profile library, and so this mapping could be different for different kind of devices. You don't have to track all of that yourself. You just need to know which button ID you want, and it will work out of the box. Yeah. I think that we're out of time. I just wanted to say thank you everybody for being here today. Sorry, I can click back one slide really quickly. Yeah, so I just wanted to say thank you very much for being here today, everybody. And if you're interested to learn more about the things, especially like for example the gamepad question was a really good one just now. You can learn more by scanning this QR code, which will take you to our documentation website, which is, or don't have to scan the QR code. It's very easy to remember, iwsdk.dev, and yeah, you'll have all the information there. And it's an early release, so we'll keep working on this, yeah, keep pushing up updates, and we'll keep talking to you guys to get more feedback. And yeah, thank you very much, everybody.